Angie Dickinson. You won't believe the story behind one of Hollywood's most legendary friendships, and it's coming straight from Angie Dickinson herself, at the incredible age of 93. After years of silence, she's finally opening up about none other than Robert Redford, the iconic actor, director, and Sundance Film Festival founder who passed away recently. But before we dive into that, let's rewind and get to know the woman behind the stories. Born Angeline Brown, back in 1,931 inches, a tiny North Dakota town, Angie's start was far from glamorous. Growing up during the Great Depression shaped her grit and drive, values that would carry her from small-town roots to the dazzling lights of Hollywood. She wasn't always dreaming of stardom. She wanted to write, maybe work behind the scenes. But fate had other plans. Her big break? A beauty pageant in the early 1950 seconds. That's where casting directors noticed her striking looks, that smoky voice, and an undeniable charisma. From there, Angie worked her way up small roles on TV, parts in westerns, and by the late 50 seconds, she was sharing the screen with some of Hollywood's biggest names. You might remember her from the classic western Rio Bravo in 1959, where she played Feathers, a tough but tender saloon girl, standing toe-to-toe with legends like John Wayne and Dean Martin. That role put her on the map and proved she could hold her own in a male-dominated industry. The 1,960 seconds were a whirlwind. Angie wasn't just a pretty face. She was a versatile powerhouse, moving effortlessly between genres, crime dramas, thrillers, romantic flicks. Films like Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack crew showed her charm and strength. She wasn't just there to look good, she brought depth to every role. And then came television, where she really broke new ground. Playing Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson in Policewoman from 1974 to 1978, Angie shattered stereotypes. Here was a female cop, smart, tough, glamorous, leading a show in a world dominated by male characters. It was revolutionary. People saw a new kind of woman on screen, someone who could be strong and feminine at once. That role earned her Golden Globes and a whole new level of respect. Her career kept rolling through the 80 seconds and 90 seconds, with roles that challenged her and reflected her growth as an actress and as a person. But behind the cameras, Angie's personal life was just as rich and complicated. She married twice, first to Gene Dickinson in the early 50 seconds. He was a college football star turned electronics businessman. Their marriage didn't last past the mid-50 seconds, but Angie kept his last name, professionally a smart move in Hollywood, where a recognizable name can make or break your career. Then came Burt Bacharach, a giant in the music world, and together they were Hollywood royalty. They had a daughter, Nikki, born in 1966. Nikki's life wasn't easy. She was diagnosed with autism at a time when few understood the condition. Angie and Burt devoted themselves to giving her the best life possible, fighting stigma and challenges every step of the way. Sadly, Nikki passed away in 2007, a heartbreaking loss that deeply affected Angie. Through all of this, Angie built friendships beyond the Hollywood bubble, like with the economist John Kenneth Galbraith and his wife. Their world of diplomacy and intellect gave her a broader perspective, proving she was so much more than just a starlet. Fast forward to 2025. The world mourned the loss of Robert Redford, who passed away peacefully at 89 inches his Utah home, the place he built with his own hands, a sanctuary away from the chaos of fame. And here is where Angie's story about Robert gets personal. They weren't lovers or headline-grabbing partners. No, their connection was something quieter, deeper, a respectful friendship between two people who understood the peculiar challenges of Hollywood. Angie remembers Robert as a rare man in the industry, not just handsome, but a man of integrity who refused to let the studios or media define him. That kind of authenticity is hard to find, even today. She recalls meeting him in the 60 Seconds when he was still a shy, up-and-coming actor. That spark was there from the start. You could just tell he was destined for greatness. What stood out, though, was his humility. Despite all the attention his looks and charm brought, Robert never acted arrogant. He listened, respected the women he worked with, and treated them as equals, something Angie admits was sadly rare back then. Of course, being a woman in Hollywood during those times wasn't easy. Angie doesn't sugarcoat it, while Robert had the freedom to be rugged, romantic, and political on screen. Women often faced limits and stereotypes, but she's quick to credit Redford for always respecting the women around him, something she valued deeply. Beyond his acting, Angie admires his activism and especially his work with Sundance. Robert wasn't just about fame or fortune. He wanted to nurture new voices, giving young filmmakers a chance when the big studios wouldn't even listen. That legacy, she says, is just as important as any film he made. When asked if there was ever more than friendship between them, Angie smiles and laughs it off. Robert was adored by women, Angie included, but their bond was purely about mutual respect and companionship without complications. Maybe that's why it lasted so long. Even in his later years, Angie says, Robert had that boyish twinkle, a rare gift that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. His death is a deep loss, but she finds comfort knowing he left peacefully in the home he loved. At 93, Angie Dickinson looks back on a lifetime filled with highs and lows, from small-town beginnings to Hollywood stardom, from personal heartbreak to lifelong friendships. And, in reflecting on Robert Redford, she reminds us what true success looks like. Being decent, private, authentic, and always chasing your dreams without forgetting where you came from. Her final thought? Robert was the real thing. They just don't make them like that anymore. If you enjoyed hearing Angie's incredible journey and her heartfelt tribute to Robert, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's so much more untold history and stories from Hollywood's golden era waiting to be uncovered. Stick around. You won't want to miss what's next. Angie Dickinson. You won't believe the story behind one of Hollywood's most legendary friendships, and it's coming straight from Angie Dickinson herself at the incredible age of 93. After years of silence, she's finally opening up about none other than Robert Redford, the iconic actor, director, and Sundance Film Festival founder who passed away